Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Cynthia of Cynthia Plans, and today we're going to be talking about meal planning, and more specifically meal planning on a monthly basis, because there are a lot of videos out there on how to meal plan with different perspectives and pieces of advice, and so many of them are so great. So I was trying to think of a way that I could share how meal planning has worked for me, and I've recently in the last 2 to 3 months have switched to monthly meal planning. So that's what this video is going to be about. I will talk about some strategies that you can implement if you're new to meal planning that I think could be helpful to you, but more specifically how doing it on a monthly basis has helped me relieve some pressure on myself, is allowed me to basically time block it as one task that I do at the end of the month ahead of the month that's coming up, and I don't have to think about it again. When I go to target.com and I get ready to place my grocery delivery order, because we are currently still in a pandemic and I'm trying to avoid the grocery stores as much as possible, I can go ahead and already just have my meal plan off to the side, start adding stuff to my cart, and actually probably do it in advance of when I actually get the delivery placed. I'll start adding stuff to my cart during the week, and then maybe by the end of the week I'll finally place order. But now I don't have to do the trying to figure out what we're going to eat for the next 2 weeks at the same time that I'm trying to grocery shop. It's just already been figured out for me, and then when it is time to grocery shop, I've already got my list and I've got my plan for the next month. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how to come up with a monthly plan for a family, and some strategies that I would like to offer to you for help in doing that. So the first thing that I would say is identify some family favorites, meals that are easy to make, and things that require ingredients that you're pretty much always going to have on hand in your house, like rice, pasta, anything like that that are staples that you may always have a box of that in the back of your pantry or something like that. So if you can identify, take some time, maybe it takes 15 minutes or so. I'm going to show you here some examples that I have. So I think at no matter what scale you decide to meal plan, of course my proposal is for monthly meal planning. A list like this just makes life easier because it takes out all of the guesswork about what you're going to cook during the course of the month or during the course of the week. Instead of sitting there being pressured and facing a creativity block or not knowing what to come up with, you can refer to this list and use it to make life easy on yourself and just plug in meals wherever you feel it makes the most sense in your schedule. Something that I do with this particular list too is that I do color code it by appliance or type of meal, and that's been helpful for me because since I'm trying to plan on a monthly basis, one thing that I have found is helpful is that by doing that approach, if I know I've got conflicts during the course of the month, then I will go ahead and try to plan a slow cooker meal or something like that on maybe that Wednesday when I have a conflict, so I can do a little extra preparation on Tuesday night, so Wednesday morning I can go ahead, set that meal before the workday begins, and then in the evening when I know I'm not going to be available to cook for my husband and son, there's already a meal that's been finished and prepared for them so they can have it that night, and I don't have to feel like they need to figure it out for themselves or try to put pressure on myself to figure out how we get a meal cooked in between the time my husband and son come home from work and school, and then I have this conflict that's going on later on in the evening. So after you come up with your list of ideas, I want you to put it in something like the insert that I showed, a notebook, put it on maybe a whiteboard in your house, wherever that might be. So that way when it does come time for you to meal plan on a monthly basis, you can go back to that and not spend a lot of time thinking about what it is that you have to make every single day for the next 28 to 31 days of the course of the month. And you may be thinking, how can I come up with these ideas? Maybe there's only 3 things that you can think of right now that your family might like. For us, the places that have been helpful to us, of course, Pinterest is a really big resource for people to go to. I like to download ebooks from my library, and it either is usually geared toward a specific type of appliance maybe that you could use, so an air fryer or slow cooker, or it could be a specific type of food. So maybe it's Greek food, it's Indian food, whatever that might be. You can get some cookbooks on a specific type of food, or if it's a specific diet or nutritional approach, maybe it's keto, or maybe it's something like low carb meals or whatever that might look like for you. If you're interested in eating in a specific way or eating a specific type of food, I would check out your local library because you probably have a ton of ebooks you can go ahead and download, get yourself getting through the recipe, and you can go ahead and follow those. Of course, you can also get print books, but if it's easier for you to just download an ebook, there are tons of apps that all these different libraries have, and you can use those too. I think those are 2 very valuable resources that you could use for finding recipes. The other thing to do is, of course, look at different blogs. If there are certain types of, like I said, nutritional approaches or certain types of cuisine such as Indian, Cuban. Try to find bloggers on the internet, just put in a simple Google search, and if there's a certain type of meal that you're looking to recreate, maybe you can find a blogger that has a recipe for that and then follow them and start seeing what other recipes that they have. That's definitely been helpful to me. Pinterest has helped me find a lot of bloggers, but I have also just found bloggers Googling certain types of recipes that I'm in the mood for, and then stumbled upon a blog that ends up having a lot more resources than I even realized or was expecting to find. Another hack that I like to do in approaching my monthly meal planning is to keep it simple by having a consistent type of meal or a consistent theme for a meal every single day of the month. So let's say Tuesdays. In our house, it's always Taco Tuesday, and that may be, you know, ground turkey taco meat, or it might be fish tacos or something like that. It sets an expectation and it makes it easy for my husband in particular to help out. So before the pandemic, when I would have days where I had to stay a little bit later at work, he would know, hey, it's Tuesday. I know Cynthia is going to make tacos tonight. I can go ahead and start prepping the taco meat before she gets home because I already know what's on the schedule for dinner tonight, and why wait for her to get here when I know that's what we're going to eat in the first place. The meal planning is not only helpful to set expectations with the people that you live with, but if you, like I said, try to make it something simple and easy that they can potentially participate in, then they may take a little bit more initiative, and that can be helpful to you as well. So your next question may be, where do I plan a monthly meal plan? So I like to use a specific insert from Cloth and Paper, and I'll show you that now. And this specific insert has been one of my favorite things that I've ever gotten in a Cloth and Paper subscription box, and it's actually on sale on her website now. I actually ordered a second pad, even though there's only 12 months in the year and there were a lot of pages on that monthly pad. I love it so much that I bought a second pad because it's my hope that I'll never have to run out of it completely. I'm sure I will at some point, but as much as I could, I tried to avoid that. So what I typically do is at the end of the month, I'll sit down with this meal plan. I'll sit down with this meal pad and I'll start to fill out. So Tuesdays I know are going to be Taco Tuesdays. On Mondays I may try to do a meatless Monday. We're kind of inconsistent with that right now, but I would like to get a little bit more consistent with that going forward. It takes out the guesswork of what we're going to have on a certain day of the week, because I can go ahead and say, well, if it's going to be a meatless meal, what are some salads that we might want to try? What are some toast or sandwiches that we don't need to have meat on? Something like a elevated avocado toast or some kind of fancy grilled cheese sandwich or something like that that doesn't require meat. So I will try and do those sorts of themes. The other thing that I would recommend is maybe you don't have the finances to subscribe to something like a meal service, but you do have the resources to do takeout maybe 2 to 4 times a month or something like that. I would encourage you to do that, especially at the end of the week or at the beginning of the week, depending on what your work week looks like. If you're just tired or you don't want to do that much, maybe build in a pizza night once a week that you do takeout for, or you do Chinese. I think doing takeout nights and doing fend for yourself nights are really important, especially as women. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to take care of our family, get it all done, and I think that's very noble of all of us, but we also need to be making sure that we're taking care of ourselves as well. And sometimes self-care is having cereal for dinner, or it's having a bowl of oatmeal or something like that, or it's just eating a pint of ice cream, whatever floats your boat that day, but making sure that you build in that flexibility to maybe say no to getting on your feet and cooking for 30 minutes to an hour. And so I've shared this monthly planning pad with you, and of course I'll make sure that it's linked here for you to purchase it if you're interested. However, that may not be something that you feel like you want to invest in. The other options you have is just to buy a monthly calendar, something like a wall calendar at a store like Office Depot, Target, Staples, something like that. Or if you don't buy a desk calendar, the other alternative is to buy a monthly planner. They do small, large monthly planners, so it's every single month, there's no weekly pages in between. You could invest in something like that, and that could be an option for you as well if you're not using a ring planner like I am, or discs and require inserts. Maybe you're already using a monthly planner or weekly planner. Also, if you do have a coiled weekly planner or daily planner or something like that, you can use the monthly section in there to maybe plan what your family schedule looks like, as well as your meal plan. If you don't want to get something separately, you can still use your monthly for that. So those are my tips for meal planning on a monthly basis. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you are looking for inspiration on how to do that, I've shared a couple of posts on my Instagram so you can look at them as examples. And of course, I shared this insert that I use for my monthly meal plan as a resource with my ideas of different meals that we make. So if you need some ideas, maybe you want to look at my insert for some inspiration. But like I said, I think it's really just figuring out what sorts of things your family likes, what sorts of things help you save some time and energy by keeping things simple. Whatever you can do to simplify the process of meal planning for your family to help set expectations, save some time, and relieve some pressure on yourself, get rid of that guesswork, basically trying to make meal planning not so stressful and obnoxious every single month. I think that these things could definitely help you along the way. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, thank you for being here, welcome, and I hope you'll consider subscribing. To all of my long-term viewers and subscribers, thanks for coming back all the time. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I wish you well.